AI and automation is the best skill to learn in 2024. This is part 6 of the Learn How to Use Make.com series, where I'll take you from an absolute beginner to an automation expert. Today, we are talking about operations, what they are, and how you calculate their usage. Now, operations are basically a number of actions which your Make automations are carrying out. This is important to know because you need to know how many operations you're spending each month, as the operations are what you are billed for from Make.com. So what are operations and how do you calculate them? If you don't know this, then when you're building out your automations, you're probably not building them out in the most efficient way. And this is the difference between somebody who is okay at building out automations and somebody who is an expert. So inside of this automation, we are watching for the form responses. How many operations is this going to use? Well, if we run this once, it is going to use one single operation to watch for the form response, and it's going to get all of the form responses that we've received. Say, for example, we've received 4 Google form responses. Then we're going to create 4 different documents, and we're going to download the file 4 times, and then we're going to send an email 4 times. So what is the answer? So the answer is 13. Regardless of how many form responses have been, if we're doing one single API call to Google Forms to watch for what responses have been received when we click run, this is going to count as 1. But then after that, the actions for each of these modules will count as 4, because if there had been 4 responses, that's how many times we have to create a doc, that's how many times we have to download the doc, and that's how many times we have to send the email. So how do we actually track a scenario usage? Well, when you first click into it, before clicking edit, you can view a diagram, you can check the history, and you can look at the incomplete executions. So what we're most interested in here is actually this diagram along the bottom. This shows operations usage over time. So I can look here and I can see that on the 30th of May, we used 58 operations. I can then also view the history of each of these operations, and if there was any errors or if it was a success, I can look at the duration, I can see how many operations were actually carried out, and I can look at the data transfer, or I can view details of this specific run. The history is also here, so I can see if there was errors, etc., and whether an automation needed to be updated. Can also view the usage of all your scenarios across the board by going to the home button where the organization is, and that will show you the usage of the full account. But this is how you view an individual workflow. So this will give you a good idea as to how much this scenario is costing over time, and you can then look into improving your scenario to reduce the number of operations used, and therefore that will reduce the amount that's used from your billing plan.